Hello, hello, hello. This is your host, Crystal Jordan. It's reality check time, and we are, of course, ready to love. All of us here are ready to hear the juice from this third season of Ready to Love. We just finished talking to the beautiful Alex, and now I got a little something for my ladies. We got a little eye candy in the building. We got Mr. Tony himself. He's the former professional football player that's causing Winter and a couple of the other ladies to go crazy this season on Ready to Love. Welcome, Tony. Welcome to Reality Check.
Well, hello, Miss Crystal. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for joining. Now, you are, I would say, being a football player, you should be used to being in the spotlight. But how are you adjusting to people recognizing you from the show when you're out and about?
Oh, it's completely different from football because you having a helmet on, they really can't see who you are unless you are the superstar. But
Right.
this and everybody can see you. Like literally, people are recognizing me through my face mask, and it's different. It's real different. So yeah, I've never had that happen before. So
how are you adjusting to it? Do you like it? Does it feel intrusive?
it's not bad at all. I don't mind it at all. Everybody, speaks and say, "Oh, I see you on the show," and I show love back because at the end of the day, they don't have to say nothing or acknowledge me, and for them to just even do that, I'm grateful for them just even doing it.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
the show is a favorite, and I think it has been because I always say this. It definitely, it's just real. It shows people what they're dealing with in dating off camera, right? And so going on the show, yes, you guys are under the spotlight, but I think the situations are the same things that are happening all over the country when people are dating. So I got to ask you in the beginning. So you being, in Houston, there's a lot of chocolate there everywhere. How in the world were you single in Houston? Were you single and really wanted love, or were you really open to just having the experience of being on television?
Well, before I had got on this show, I've been single now I was single for 2 years.
Okay.
So before that, I was in a relationship for 3 years. But the
Okay.
past 2 years, I just said to myself, I need to figure out me and just personally develop. So that time I really didn't go out. I had other goals that I wanted to reach, especially when
Mm-hmm.
it pertained to my finances. So there
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of different things that I needed to get for me. So I know that I'm loving me the way I want to love me. So I'm ready to love somebody else.
Nice. Nice that you came to that realization on your own. Before we move into the show, what kind of have been your dating habits before the show? Because most of the time people come on the show and they realize, okay, maybe I should have been doing this, or maybe I wasn't doing this right. So what were some of the dating patterns that you had prior to coming on Ready to Love?
I feed off energy.
Mm-hmm.
Real super like energy is a thing for me. If you got negative energy, I can feel it. And
Right.
I will not even try to even fight with you because I already know where it's about to go and that you will be draining me left and right. So I'm real big off energy. So that's one of the main things. And of course, you just having a sense of humor. Like
Mhm.
you can't be serious all the time. I mean, you have your moments, of course, but just gotta be sometimes just loose, just relax. Like,
Yeah.
we already got enough we're dealing with, especially with us. So
Yeah. That is true. That's
yes.
very true. So had you ever really been in love? Like had you ever had that situation that you thought was going to be your forever?
Well, everybody been asking me, so you've never been in love? I say I've been close. I've had the feelings, but I got to a point, especially when I was playing football, and I always go back to that because that was what I loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the focus. And yeah, like you're next in line. I'm sorry, and that's just
Yeah.
what it was.
Hmm.
And yeah, that that's
You
just
know
what
what?
it was.
I appreciate that honesty. And I've heard guys say, I have a friend that was dating a guy who was almost 40, and he said, I've never been in love. And at first we're like, as a woman, you're like, and it's like, men, I don't think that men process love the same as women do. So I think you guys are like
I
way
agree.
more serious and not as often, right? So, but when you do, all hell breaks loose, Tony. Y'all in love. Lord Jesus, if y'all get hurt, all hell breaks loose. But you said something on this last episode that I really, really, really liked. And I mentioned it. We do a recap here every Friday. And I
Okay.
mentioned it to the relationship coach that was on the show. You said that in football, you have to, if you have a play and it doesn't go right, you have to be able to move forward and not be focused on what you did wrong for the next one. Or I guess mentally you would psych yourself out. And
Yeah.
I thought that was so deep and such a great correlation to relationships. Can you talk a little bit about how you kind of made that correlation to, from football to relationships?
From just playing the game, and when it comes to energy, once again, this is where like I really honed in and just started thinking about the energy and how, like, why am I getting beat every single time from this guy when I know I'm better than this person?
Right.
The energy, because you already done locked in that he already done beat you before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
instead of you going forward, you're over here thinking about the past, and it's the same thing when we're doing our lives as well. So I just started saying to myself, let me learn, let me take, first of all, let me take responsibility for what's going on in my life. Then two, let me figure it out. Let me talk to the Lord, and then let me move on, because
Yeah.
I give about 24 to 48 hours. It depends on the situation. But
Yeah.
I'm not dwelling on it, because if you keep dwelling on it, then you're going to start attracting more of that. And I don't have time for that, because I want to move forward in my purpose and why I'm supposed to be here.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you saying that on the show. I thought that was great advice, not just in dating relationships, but in everything. If it's your career, if it's issues with children or family or anything, you got to be able to let go of that and move on. Or you kind of take that into mentally, you take that, and we know we create what we visualize and what we focus on. So that was great. Now, there's a couple of things that are going on that we're seeing in your relationships that I wanted to ask you about. We see Winter asking, kind of wanting you to fight for her and saying it. She said it a few times. So sometimes women will suggest something, and other times they just say it outright. Saying it outright. So she wants you to fight for her. And so, we saw conversations with a lot of men saying that, women sometimes want, they say they want something, and then if they get a guy that's really jealous, and then they don't really want that. So what did you think about that, with her kind of initiating and then being really blunt about the fact that she wants you to be a lot more aggressive in your pursuit of her, and in how seeing interactions with her with other men, she wants you to step up there and say, no, she's mine?
Well, me and Winter had a couple of conversations, because she had said it to me before. And I shared with her, I said, I will not be the guy who is going to be interrupting other people while they're having conversations with another guy. And then on top of that, I shared with her that the guys, we all came together and we said, we're going to do something different on this show, and we're going to respect each other on here, instead of trying to interrupt while they're doing, because we have plenty of time on the show, because I'm going to get my time. Like, if I'm interested, like, they're not going to be with you the whole entire time, because now if you going in 1 or 2 hours, okay, then maybe I'm like, look, let me get a little time, bro.
Right.
It really didn't happen like that, because the men respected each other from that standpoint of what was going on. And now the part where Winter, and where I was, dancing and doing my thing, when Jay hugged her. Now I tell people I didn't mind that, because we were just walking. We were just taking a walk. We weren't on a date. Now, if we were on a date, that'd have been something different.
Right.
So we had already respected. You over here messing with me with what I'm doing with this girl. I'm like, whatever, man. Like, I'm just playing it off. We're all here for the process. And on top of that, too, Winter was doing what she was doing. So it's like,
I'm not going to do that.
right. So it's all good. Nothing but love. We all doing what we doing out here.
We all do. So how is that different? Because I think even in the next little example I wanted to bring out, where Tommy tells you that, women want to be chosen, right? I think that's true in any, every woman across the world watching that probably was like, we do. Women want to feel that. But the thing I respected about you not doing that is because it seemed like you haven't really figured out what you wanted to do. Now you did keep sharing that with the right? Your honesty was, you're a very honest man. You're a very honest man, Tony. But it seemed like you were not moving forward and trying to make women feel like that because you hadn't made up your mind, which you got to respect, because you're not trying to lead. If you made each of them feel like you were going to choose them, then you would have gotten called a liar later, and you would have been put.
Exactly. I was not about to put myself in that situation, because I knew once I made a decision, you was going to know I'm moving forward with you, because I was going to be doing different things. But at that time, I was not sure yet, because I needed to make sure. So I knew the pressure was on. That's why I said the pressure was on.
How do you handle that when you're dating off camera? Because, I just had a conversation with Alex, and she was like, one of the things that we have to do, and I think this show teaches people, is it is healthy to date, because you don't know what you need. You don't know what vibes with you unless you get out there and put yourself out there the same way you guys are doing on television, but in real life. So how do you kind of deal with getting to know people and dating multiple people? If you have, I'm sure you have, but if you have, how do you deal with that in a way, because you really handled it, and the comments, have been consistent when I mentioned that you were coming on the show, and even now, that you are someone that a lot of women have respect. A lot of people respect your style and the way you've handled yourself, just with a lot of class and respect. So how have you kind of managed to do that even when you're not on television?
Well, I appreciate that. I've always learned from, my folks, just trying to do my best to be a straightforward person, because, we've told stories. We've all said some stuff where we're not supposed to say. And I just said to myself, it's just much easier for me to just be straightforward. I'd rather you be mad at me for telling you the truth instead of you hating me because I lied to you.
Right.
So, now ask the question again. I forgot. I got a little.
Well, how do you approach dealing with dating multiple women?
Multiple women. There you go. Yep. I really don't date that much like that. Because it's just too much work. To be honest with you, it's a lot. And I mean, I have definitely had some women reach out to me, and I've just been I'm like, look, we still on the show right now. Look, I'm just chilling right now.
Yeah.
So, but I'm speaking, I'm engaging and stuff, but it's right now, I'm not even really.
You're not in that space. What about prior to the show? Did you have any experiences prior to the show that taught you, nope, I'm gonna make sure that I'm honest all the time. I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna, weave these webs of deceit.
Yes.
Because that would get me into trouble.
Yes. Well, definitely when I was in my relationship, just definitely just being straightforward about everything, because if you just steadily just keep dragging it on, it is just going to eventually pop to the point somebody going to snap. So might as well not even do that to yourself, because that's more toxic in your body. I'm all about energy. Like, if you got toxin in your body and you're supposed to be doing other great things, you can't put those great things in you until you get rid of that toxin in your body.
That's true. That's very true. So on the show, we saw you connect with Winner, a late kind of connection with Denise, right? And then
we'll go with that. Okay.
Wait. Well, we're just going on what we've seen so far.
Right.
So far, what are the characteristics that you're attracted to in women, period? Because you come on a show like that, or just, you're meeting a lot of different women, a lot of beautiful women. What are the things that you're looking for outside of the physical that really connect with you to kind of help you make that decision?
Where she is mentally, like, what's your goals? Like what it is right now that what's your purpose? Like, why are you here? Are we gonna be wealthy together, or are we gonna be in debt together? Like, what's your credit score looking like? Like, are you debt free? So, cause I'm debt free. So I'm not coming in nothing with
Tell them, Tony, say, hey,
I have no kids. I've never been married. So I'm just like, what you bringing to the table? Because I'm bringing something to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be open to, or are you open to dating someone that does have children, or would you prefer? And it's okay to have preferences, ladies. It's
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Everybody have preferences, but would you be open to dating somebody that wasn't, that did have children, that did, had been married before?
I have dated women with children before. I mean, preferably, at this time of my life, I wouldn't, but I would be open to it if we're making that connection. And if you do have a child, I listen. What God has for me is for me.
I like
So,
that, Tony.
so
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything that you have learned thus far in the show about yourself, just from, the interactions that you've had and being in that kind of like a pressure cooker with a lot of different people and a lot of different women in a short period of time? Did you learn anything about yourself?
patience, patience of just everything, how everything went on, just being in that whole situation with everybody. Also of, I'll say, we definitely grew from a standpoint mentally when
Hmm.
it came, especially with the men. I'll say it in minutes. We had a kumbaya. I don't know if they're gonna show it yet or not, but we really had like some deep moments as men
That's
where
nice.
it was deep to the point that we literally talked about it the whole day with whoever we were with.
Hmm.
And each and every time, if we were switched up with one of the ladies or we went with somebody else, they would always say to us like, wow, we heard y'all had a deep conversation today. Like, it was
Yeah.
some good stuff. So just from that, and from men just respecting each other, and me seeing those men talking about their kids,
Hmm.
just and how they take care of them. I just respected them from that standpoint. I don't care. Like, I don't care what else you've done. As long as you're taking care of them kids right
Yeah.
now, I'm all about that from a respect standpoint when you take care of your kids. So
Hmm. Well, that's I've heard that. We had Chris on and he talked about that as well. And it's great to hear, because number one, we know that we don't often see men in situations that they're able to really express their emotions and have support from each other. And I hope that we do get a chance to see some of that, because that, I think, is healing. I also love the fact that it seems like the women are doing the same thing, because we saw situations where, you know, the women held the men accountable. Like, Alex held Brian accountable for how he treated Alicia, which was great. And then later, when, Simone had the situation with Winter, and Joy, they held her accountable. She took accountability, and you see the women really forming that sisterhood. So to hear that the same exact thing is being mirrored on the side of the men, it's just great to see. I think we're getting a chance to really, it's more about relationships, it's more about just men and women and us as as a community. So I love the fact that the show is doing a lot more than just showing people dating,
yeah, yes. I mean, literally, we were pretty much a family. I mean, we were literally eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner together every single day.
Hmm.
Like, we were around each other just about 24/7. So,
Yeah.
and it was just us. We weren't out in the real world. It was literally just us. So, we became a dysfunctional family, pretty much.
Brian, what would you, I'm not Brian, I'm sorry, Tony, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Brian because of what we just finished talking about. But what do you think that what do you wish women understood more about men?
We're
A lot.
we're just we're just a little slow on some things. I mean,
I think we know
just
that part.
well, I mean, but I really sometimes I really just don't think they do when it comes to certain men. I can't speak for everybody. I do my best to try to use my common sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if I don't know, please, honestly, I'm gonna say I don't know. Teach me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's another thing. If you can teach me something and bring something to the table like that, where I'm learning from you and you're learning from me,
Hmm.
I'm all for it. So.
Yeah. So basically, just women need to know that men may not know. You may have to.
I honestly, I really can't think of nothing else, because I mean, the main thing is just sometimes I just don't know what other men be thinking when it comes to that. I thought I did, so I only can speak for myself.
Yeah. Well, I do like the fact you guys held each other accountable too. because we saw the guys, say to Brian, like, dude, no, that ain't it. Like, that's not the right way to be. And some other situations, there was accountability held amongst men, and Tommy does a great job of doing that, of asking everybody, where they are and being very, transparent with what he sees compared to what they say. I want to ask you, because I've asked everybody on about your thoughts on the conversation with Chris and Naya, and the conversation of men providing, across the board, and women expecting men to do that, and that conversation. How did you feel about the way that played off on the show? I was interested to see that the men really held her accountable for the fact they felt like, it seemed, if it was that quick for her to let him go, there must not have been genuine interest there, even though she was really clear about the fact that she did not want to be with someone that would want to split the bills. How did you, in your opinion, how did you feel about that interaction?
Well, it is, I don't know, TV. That's all I'm gonna say. Because Naya was still talking to KG. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Because the way how it was showed,
okay. Well, we'll let
I'm gonna let it roll down the review.
We'll let that go. Do you think that just on the premise of the situation, do you think that women should expect men to financially take care of the couple's responsibilities, or do you think that each couple should find their own way? How do you see that?
Well, I hope y'all already have talked about that before you even got to that situation to even get to that point, because if he's not financially stable, why are you even talking to him?
Good question. Good question. What are we doing?
Well, you're wasting time, because you already said in your head, look, you got to at least have some type of finances when I have this baby. So
right.
If he said you got to move on.
You got to move on. Got to move on. Well, what about you outside of Ready to Love? Tell us a little, because we have a lot of ladies that are definitely wanting to know more about toning Tony. Obviously, you are workout. You got the workout situation. I'm assuming that you help other people get in great shape as well. Tell us about your life outside of Ready to Love.
Yes, I am also a health and wellness, and I would say a fitness coach as well. I call it the TTF movement, called the Total Transformation Fitness. Okay. And what we preach is the lifestyle. You having the type of lifestyle that you want, but first you have to do it mentally. That's one thing we preach the most, because you hear the majority of people, oh, I've tried everything. Oh, I've done this and I've done that. But mentally, did you make the decision to do it? Because everything works. You just got to work it.
That's true.
You're not going to come into my program and say, oh, it didn't work for you, when you didn't even start here mentally, because you can make that decision for free. That doesn't take money. So just like how you decided you wanted to do this show, you made a decision to do it, right? Then you took action. And there were some obstacles, correct?
Right.
Same thing with fitness.
So what does the program entail? Is it workout? Is it food? Is it consultation? Like, how does it work? Because people want to sign up. Like, where do I sign up?
Okay, well, it just depends on what you want and what you need, because we have online workouts we can do. We can do the one-on-one consultation. It just depends on your needs and what your goals are. And from there, we'll just make sure we can find something that's a good fit. And if I'm not a good fit, I'm always giving other references to great other trainers as well, because I can't train everybody.
You can't take everybody.
and I won't.
I'm sure your business is going to be booming, and probably is booming already after the show. I'm sure that's definitely making you a favorite on the site. Where can people go to find out more about the program?
Well, you can go to Tony, Toning, Tony, Tony, and then also the TTF movement. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever the other ones are. TikTok. Yeah.
Are you TikToking, Tony?
I started.
Okay.
And then I stopped, because I was like, it's too much. Too much. It's trying to do the Facebook, the Instagram. I'm like, it's just so many platforms to get on. So I got to get it in the repertoire because I see everybody's TikToking now. So
everybody's TikToking. You gotta get on TikTok. Well, before I let you go, I would love for you to give us a couple of tips, just a couple of dating suggestions. Now that you are, I think all of you guys, after going through this experience, are dating experts in your own right. So if you had to give some suggestions out there to people that are feel like they're ready for love, what would you tell them?
Well, make sure that the communication that you communicate, you got to talk. You got to ask those questions. Like, you have to be honest with yourself and honest with them, and ask whatever you need to ask to start taking that guard down, because we all have walls for certain things that has happened in our life. And if you don't, like I said, if the energy ain't right, you should be able to know that I don't think this is going to work out.
Right.
But the energy is there. I think you should be comfortable enough to start being honest with them and be forward about just asking certain things where you feel like, it will help you bring that guard down. Because if they answer it wrong, then you be like, "Cool, all right, got to go. You didn't answer right." I just say that, yeah, just do your best to open up, because more than likely, 9 times out of 10, everybody has some type of guard up if they're currently dating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, last question. What are your plans for the holidays? You've got big plans for Christmas?
I don't know. I think I might be going home for Christmas. I might stay here. Haven't decided yet. So got some other things in the works. So
okay.
We'll
now,
see.
Home for you is Florida, right?
Florida, Palm Beach County. Come on. Yes. Yes.
Well,
we like to dance back there. That's where we dance.
That's where y'all dance. So, well, we appreciate you. I appreciate you hanging out with us today and sharing your perspective on Ready to Love. I'm sure your business is going to do really well after this, and hopefully you found love. If not, I'm sure love is right around the corner for you, Tony. You got a lot of fans, a lot of people really, besides your physical, you're a very handsome man, but besides that, I think women really, really appreciate just seeing the gentleman, that good old Southern gentleman inside of you. That's appreciated. So we ladies are definitely appreciating that. I'm feeling that from Tony.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate you having me on the show, and be able to just give some of that energy back, because it's real. It's real.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we appreciate it. We're definitely going to keep in touch with you. We definitely are going to check in with you after the top of the year to find out, because we know that reunion and all that's coming up. So we'll be back in touch with you, Tony.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it again. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right, so that wraps tonight's episodes of Reality Check. I'm really enjoying these Ready to Love conversations. Like I said, again, I don't think there's any place else that you can get just such a in-depth, up-close reflection of what it's like to date, a little bit later in life. We know when you're dating in your teens and in your college years, it's a lot different than dating once you've had children or once you've been in your career or once you've been working for a while. So I love the fact that this show, Will Packer has done a great job, along with, of course, Oprah Winfrey, of putting together just a show that reflects the reality of life and sparks great conversation. So hopefully everybody is dating better after watching Ready to Love. So this has been Crystal Jordan. Of course, this is Reality Check. You guys got to check back in with me next Monday. But remember, every Friday, right after Ready to Love at 9 o'clock on OWN, right here at 10 o'clock on Rolling Out, we do our Ready to Love recap. So this week we have one of the former castmates from season 1 or season 2. I'm not going to tell you guys which one. And another dating and relationship expert are going to chime in with their thoughts on how the show went. So I will see you guys right back here on Rolling Out on Friday at 10 p.m. And of course, next Monday at 8 p.m. This has been your host, Crystal Jordan, wishing you peace and lots of love. I'll see you guys next time.